Medical disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, nor do I have any formal medical training. All content found in this video, for example, text, images, audio, figures, etc., is for informational purposes only. This video is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard, seen, or read about in this video.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about how frequently you should inject in order to get the most benefit from your B12 injections. This was a question asked by somebody on Twitter. Now, the answer I'm going to give is probably not the one that people want to hear, but the frequency at which you should inject really depends upon the person, the type of B12, and the extent of the damage that's been done. For people with neurological involvement, so you're unsteady, you have paresthesia, which is like a buzzing sensation in the body, you have tingling, pins and needles, visual disturbances, cognitive dysfunction, those types of symptoms, you need to inject a lot more frequently than somebody who's just a little low in B12. Right, and who's a little bit tired. For those with neurological deficits, the guidelines put out by the British Hematology Society, which I will link to in the description below, and I'll show a screenshot of in this video. They recommend injections, full strength injections, so 1,000 microgram injections of hydroxycobalamin given IM, I think the guidelines say IM, every other day for at least 3 weeks or until no further improvement in symptoms occurs. All right? That's the key term. And a lot of doctors don't realize that. And the guidelines also explicitly state that for certain people, you may need to continue on that schedule indefinitely. Okay, so this is for hydroxo injections, hydroxo B12. For cyano B12, you need to be injecting every day as opposed to every other day if you have neurological symptoms. The reason being that the cyano injections don't last as long in the body as the hydroxo injections do, and they also have a lower uptake, from what I remember, into the cells. So you need to inject a lot more frequently. Methyl injections, I can't comment on those because I haven't looked into that and I'm not as familiar with them. So that's the frequency stated by the official guidelines, but that's for people with neurological symptoms. Now, if you're treating other symptoms, you kind of have to go by your symptoms. So that's why it's really important when you're starting your B12 injection journey to keep a symptom diary. So I keep a symptom diary in an Excel spreadsheet. I can actually share a screenshot of that in this video too, so you can kind of see like how I do it. Basically what you want to do is to have your dates in a different row and then put columns corresponding to the different symptoms that you want to track. So like I like to track thigh pain, paresthesia, did I use the wheelchair that day, internal tremors, weakness, fatigue, that kind of stuff. And then I have a notes column. That can be a really useful way to track how well your type of injection you're using is working, or the brand of injection that you're using, and the frequency at which you're injecting at. You'll kind of get a sense of, how well the injections are working for you. So like if you start off on weekly injections and you do an injection on a Sunday and you're feeling like crap by Wednesday, chances are you need to increase the frequency of injections to be 2, possibly even 3 times a week. In terms of knowing when to start spacing out your injections, again, that's person dependent and depends upon how long you've had your symptoms and all that kind of stuff. Once you feel like you're stable and you've healed as much as you can possibly heal, then you can start slowly spacing out your injections. So if you were injecting every day, go to every other day for a couple months. And again, keep tracking your symptoms. And if you see that you're starting to relapse, then it's probably too soon to start spacing out your injections, and you have to go back to everyday injections. There's no hard and fast rule for how quickly you should be injecting or whatever, but to maximize healing, it would be everyday injections for Cyano, every other day for Hydroxo. Now, there are people that do inject Hydroxo daily, and there are also some people that inject Cyano twice a day, kind of person dependent, and it may be something that you want to do during periods of stress, during periods of illness, increased illness. This is why taking control and taking charge of your own B12 injections is really important, because you get to custom tailor the injection program to your body. The other option that you have too, so it's not just about the frequency, it's about the dose that you're injecting. There's also some B12s on the market that come in a higher concentration. So you can buy Cyano from specialty pharmacies that is 2 milligrams per milliliter. For methyl, you can get, I think I've got 4 milligrams per ml coming in, and you could even do 10 milligrams per ml. So you can really start cranking up the doses on this stuff, and it may mean that you don't have to inject as frequently. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different variables here in terms of, what frequency you should be injecting. It depends on the type of B12, it depends on the concentration of the B12, and it depends on the person, how long you've had the symptoms. There's just a lot of different variables to consider. But the underlying theme for all of this is that you need to use your symptoms and how those are changing in time. That will dictate how you should go about things, and whether or not the program that you're doing is good, or whether or not you should change things up. If you sort of plateaued in your symptoms, you may want to consider a higher concentration of B12, injecting more frequently, a different type of B12. There's just so many different axes to change things. So I hope that answers the question. If you want to get more information about B12 injections, I'm going to be making a bunch more videos. So click like and subscribe to be the first to see those. All right. Bye.